to Loyal Real News. I will be your host. Today is April 4th, 2020. Another spin of the globe, another day of news to report. So let's get on with it. My aims for this channel: inform others of real news going on around them. Share about different cultures and customs, laws, and governments. Let viewers learn English. Create an environment where others can share and learn. I researched real news to share with you, so to save you time. Closed captions in English are available, and so is the video in a podcast form. With that in mind, let's get on with today's topics. Today's topics of the day: Naval Warfare in Vietnam waters. Vietnam volunteering and kindness sets an example for others. Japanese children design Laos official para-athletic uniforms. Customers desert South Korea's animal cafes over virus fears. Curfew pass, real or hoax? And New Zealand's lockdown, a slap on freedom and government eyes on you. Let's get into it. In our first story today, while Venezuela was attempting to sink a cruise boat with one of their own and sunk itself in the process, a different dispute happened in Asia between Vietnam and China in the EC. A Chinese ship hits and sinks a Vietnamese fishing boat in the EC and detains its crew. Vietnam said the Chinese vessel hit the boat near the Parcel Islands before capturing its 8 crew members and 2 boats which came to its rescue. This move may increase the tensions in the EC, most of which is claimed by China. The Vietnamese fishing boat with 8 members on board was sunk after being hit by a Chinese ship near the disputed Parcel Islands, local authorities said on Friday, a move that may increase tension between China and Vietnam. Beijing claims almost all of the East Sea in Vietnam as its territory and has built artificial islands with military capability facilities over reefs and overcrops in the area, which are also claimed by Vietnam. 2 Vietnamese fishing boats attempted to rescue the 8 fishermen, but they were also detained with their ships on the island, states the media. China released the 8 fishermen and the 2 Vietnamese rescue boats on Thursday evening. Please stay tuned because I have been in Asia for quite a while and I would like to give you a little more backstory, because while this was the first incident in 2020, China has been doing this for quite a while, not just with Vietnam, but with many nations. So I will give you a little extra input on my personal thoughts in a minute. For the backstory, first off, they took the 8 sailors captive, but they did release them yesterday. Okay, but China has done this before in 2014 when it rammed fishing boats and sunk them in an effort to stake claim over the sea. At this time, it set off riots and protests of the Chinese businesses and land dealings in Vietnam. Some Taiwanese companies were caught in the crossfire as these businesses were vandalized at the time. How will Vietnam respond to this current hostility of China? As many know, China is building islands throughout the sea and is trying to gain access to nations' marine and land rights. This is done in hopes to secure trade routes for the One Belt, One Road China. Many countries in Southeast Asia have looked the other way while China has been doing this as they're flooding their countries with cash for infrastructure projects and potential debt traps. Examples of this would be Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. In my opinion, if Vietnam wants to send a strong notion to China, They should recognize Taiwan, as only 18 countries recognize Taiwan as a country, or they should impose much higher rates for tourists, or just lock out any business dealings for the Chinese trying to open a business in Vietnam. But anyway, what are your thoughts about the China One Belt One Road, or about China trying to claim other countries or putting them into debt? Leave your comments below. I would love to hear. On to our second article today, kind of like the 12 days of Christmas. Well, we're going to deal with the 12 shining examples of Vietnam volunteering and acts of kindness amid the bug crisis. Times of crisis can often bring out the best of people. As the situation becomes more and more complex in Vietnam, many have stepped up to help doctors in the communities. And here are some examples. First example, HCM, which is Ho Chi Minh City. A 95-year-old woman makes masks for the poor people. So she actually used to make pillows, but now she's making masks and she's giving them out to the poor people of the city. Something else, the Hanoi chef made hundreds of meals for the medical staff. The owner of a small restaurant in Hanoi has made hundreds of free, healthy meals for medical staffs working in national hospitals, tropical disease in facility number 2, where many bug patients are being treated. Moving on. Example 3. 2 15-year-old students donated savings of 200 million dong. And this is about $8,500 US. So they were going to go overseas and study, but they thought, you know what, we're going to bypass our chance to do that. We are going to help our people in need. Awesome. Great job. Vietnam, a vegetarian shop, offers hundreds of free meals for people in Ho Chi Minh City. Being on Vegetables Food Shop in HCM District 10 offers 1,200 to 1,400 free meals for people in need every day. Keep in mind, unlike America, most people have been out of work since around January 19th. That is when the Chinese New Year started, and the government never opened up after February 3rd when the Chinese New Year ended. So most people have been without work for months now, and it's going to at least go until May. And I actually, I used to live in District 10. It was one of my favorite places. It wasn't really too touristy. It was more local, and they have really good pho in that city. It's a really nice district. Keep it up, Vietnam. Example number 5. Volunteers deliver charity meals to help poor locals in HCM City. Volunteers are traveling all over HCM City, taking free meals to people from New Khoi restaurant chain. Good job. Number 6, free hand liquid moisturizer soap is being distributed in Hanoi residents. Blooming Soap Company in Hanoi gave away hundreds of free hand liquid moisturizing soaps to locals and gave hundreds of bottles to help Hanoi's homeless organizations. Awesome. Keep it up. That Vietnam pride there. Okay, example number 7. Ho Chi Minh City residents leave food outside for those in need. Well, in this case, as a side note, I can make this. But yeah, in America, if you left food out, they would just sue you. They wouldn't state gratitude. But Vietnam, let's help the poor. Great job again. All right, next one. Moving on. See, many examples, all free food. Number 8, Facebook users complain a list of restaurants that sell cheap meals. A Facebook user has gathered a list of restaurants that sells cheap meals at cheap price bowls of 5,000 dong. So in this case, cheap means inexpensive, not cheap as low quality. 5,000 dong is a quarter in America, if that. Okay, maybe more like a dime for a meal to help people out. Okay. All right, I love Vietnam. Awesome, great. People are singing it. All right. Number 9, Hanoi University donates food to charity organizations. Okay. University of Hanoi University has donated their ordered groceries to Blossom House, a charity organization focusing on helping devastated girls. Awesome job. So people that already had food for whatever cause, they gave it to help these people in need. Keep it up. All right, number 10. Facebook groups encourage people to cook more meals for people in need. A Facebook page called Saigon's Quartet Support Network in HCM City has encouraged people to cook more food than usual, and each person would provide free meals, to one person in need for the next 15 days, putting up signs outside their house. Go, go, go Vietnam. Yeah. I love the community spirit. I always honestly always get involved or happy when I can show pride. I never really could show pride in my country because they were too busy fighting or special interest, blah, blah, blah. But there's no bickering. So I love it. I love taking part in it. Okay. Old lady. Next example, old lady donates life savings to fight the virus. An 87-year-old woman from Quang Nong province donated 3 million dollars, which is about $150, and her jewelry to pay for emergency supplies. She said she did if she died. She can't take her possessions with her. Awesome. You go, girl. And the last one, old woman donates life savings. 84-year-old woman donated 2 million dong. That's about $100. But again, Vietnam is a very poor country, and that's an awesome job. So you know what? Here's my question for you. My question for you is, what is your community to make a difference in this social isolation? Remember, making a difference starts with you. Just take one step forward. To our next topic of the day. Japanese children design the official uniform for a Lao para-athletic team. Para-athletics is sports for people with disabilities. And there they are. Elementary school students in the Japanese city of Isa have designed the official uniform for the Lao para-athletic team for the upcoming Tokyo 2020 Paralympic schedule between August and September. Icy City is perceived as serving as a host town for the Lao para-athletic teams who are aiming for the Tokyo Paralympics. You know, this story caught my eye because it's always nice, to try to let everybody have a normal, healthy life. And whether it's kids or adults, I know a lot of veterans that are injured in America that come back injured, broken arms, whatever, legs. They get into these kind of sports and they do really good. And it helps motivate them, keeps them going strong. And in the kids' case, it keeps them having a normal life and hopefully helping them learn and being part of the community. So my question for you is, by the way, the Paralympics was founded in 1989 it's a global organization, so many countries take part of it. So my question for you is, when you were young, did your school ever have any type of contest that you took part in? What was it, and what was the outcome? Was it just for school-based, community, state, or national? I'd love to hear. Leave your comments below. In our next story, South Korean cafes. So in South Korea and some other parts of Asia, they have these cafes, coffee shops, or bookstores, and some nice small diners where animals will wander around. I've actually been to comic book stores and stuff where I have seen animals do this, and it was kind of strange to me. So I have had an experience firsthand. But because of this virus, it causes a problem. So South Korea cafe, a raccoon cuts a lonely figure at the Eldon Market Friends Cafe in Seoul, where customers are few and far between. Along with the coffee, South Korea's animal cafes offer the chance to cuddle companion creatures like dogs, cats, for customers who cannot keep one for themselves. So customers can serve these animals cafes over the fears of the virus. These entries were a nice trend for animal lovers, as at these shops, customers could sip coffee and interact with cats, raccoons, and wallabies and dogs. The advantage to this kind of shop was not everyone was allowed or capable to own a pet in their house, so they could enjoy one at these cafes or places. The animal caretakers can't be laid off, but aren't generating money to buy pet food. So what are they going to do with these animals? Are they going to put them down? Are they going to kill them? Throw them in the ocean? What will they do? And it's also this was to me was the bigger issue. How are zoos and animal parks surviving these times? Think of Walt Disney World. Think of San Diego Zoo or Everland Zoo in Korea. Taiwan has a big zoo. Vietnam does too. And so, what are these places doing to generate money to feed the animals, and what's going to happen with the animals? And what do you think of this kind of cafe? Would you like to visit one? Leave your comments below. Like, comments, for us, subscribe. To our next story of the day, and our first time about Sri Lanka. This, to me, was one of the most disturbing articles I found today. Let me see your curfew pass. Oh, that's just so cringy. So this is the picture of the day. The soldiers are stopping people for a pass. And so, as it says, an army officer is seen checking the curfew pass of a motorbike rider. Police and army apprehend those who do not possess a curfew pass using roadblocks on major roads. So, wow. I mean, that's just like almost North Korean dictatorship, total authority that's going on. And it scares me that that may be implemented in other places. So my question for you is, well, in my case, I remember back when I had a hall pass in elementary school, where oh, you're outside your class. Where's your hall pass? Oh, you don't have one. No, you go to the principal's office. We're calling your mom. Well, in this case, you're going to jail. So, what are your thoughts on mandatory curfew passes? Now, or for perhaps forever? And keep in mind, the government could easily do this. They could just say, you know what, register at our website, then print this out, or use a mobile app and then show this to people. So anyway, leave your comments below on that. I'd be very interested to hear. To the next topic of the day brings us to our first article for me about New Zealand. New Zealand puts a new strict ban on people. New Zealand's lockdown officially bans swimming, hunting, and surfing. There is no doubt that fishing, swimming, surfing, and hunting and tampering are banned under new lockdown laws. Kiwis has previously been advised not to take part in these activities during the lockdown, but the ban was made official in a fresh law released on the government website today. People cannot leave their home to hunt, tramp, swim, take part in any water-based activities such as surfing or boating, or do anything that may put them in danger or require help from rescue services. The director basically said issuing this health notice was to ensure its success to help move the country out of lockdown sooner than possible. So, growing up, my mom would tease me that I should feel lucky that I could go out and swim, as children in North Korea couldn't. Heck, they couldn't hunt due to starving and no food. How would you feel about this type of lockdown? Are your rights being stripped away? Please post and let me know below. Okay, moving on to our next story of the day. How Google's been tracking Kiwis during lockdown. So we just learned there is a lockdown, and now we're going to learn how it's being enforced. Now New Zealand's mostly staying home during the lockdown, with trips to supermarkets down by 54% and transport hubs by 84%, according to the new data reported from Google. Google has been tracking New Zealand's movements to show how often we were going to work, parks, supermarkets, transport hubs during the lockdown. The tech giant recently released the community mobility reports for 131 countries, saying it had heard from public officials that the data would be useful in responding to the bug. The report for New Zealand is based on Sunday, March 29th, the fourth day of the lockdown. It compares the data from Sunday with the average Sunday being January 3rd, 1st through the 6th of this year. It showed that New Zealand's trips to retail and recreation facilities, such as restaurants, cafes, shopping centers, and libraries, were down by 91%. Trips to groceries and pharmacies were down 54%. Trips to park, beaches, and public gardens were down 78%. And visits to transport hubs, such as buses and train stations, were dropped by 84%. I will have a few comments on this in a second, but let's move on with it. Okay, my thoughts on the Google app and Google spying. Sure, Apple and everybody else might be doing the same thing, but here's my takeaway. Google Apps tracking New Zealand residents to help enforce social distancing laws. Remember how China hated Google and it moved its stations from mainland China to Hong Kong to give the Hong Kong people free speech. Then it went back to China after it agreed to make a new search engine to monitor an engine for them, the social credit score one. So it sounds like that it's getting paid, not only paid to spy, but it's now sending what it made in China out to other countries and making a profit off of that. So keep in mind they're profiting off of spying and non-American values. And keep in mind also that AT&T did this after 9/11 with the Freedom or Patriot Act, where they were spying on those people, phone calls, and nobody knew. Okay, so this is just an enhanced form of spying on your citizens. And then again, for freedom, this is wrong. And then keep in mind too, Amazon listens with this Bixby. We've already had those examples on TV where some people had little dirty conversations or not, and then other people call them, then they were published on the news. So how do you feel? My question for you, how do you feel about always being watched or spied on? You are not free. I myself have stopped carrying my phone outside for a long time now, and that's true. You know, I never liked being, hey, how did you like this place you visit? How did you like that? I never really liked being monitored. So when I go out, I've almost never that people steal cell phones anyway. So I value my freedom more than I value having a tracker, like a puppy with an electrode in its head. Anyway, one more story to come up, and let's have a good day. The last topic today, to end on a positive note, I wanted to talk about new impressive technology. I'm going to include a website link below of an article I read that shared about new technology devices used to help the sick or the elderly. On this website, there was a VR headset to help the dementia patients. Basically, you put this headset on and it would help them process the information better or what they were thinking. And the doctor or the care worker could put one on too. And since VR people share information, it would let them see what the dementia patient is seeing or going through to help them with therapy. And so I thought this was pretty intriguing, and I encourage you to check out the website for more information. It's kind of long for me to read. Another one that was interesting on this website that was out today was a smart walking stick. My dad, he had MS, and he always had to walk around with a cane, and I know many others did as well, but he always tried not to. But these new canes actually have a built-in torch for being dark, an alarm if you fall, send a signal to 119, 911, or whatever, and an umbrella. Because in this case, this was invented in Singapore, and it always rains in Singapore, so probably like Vietnam too. Anyway, so that's that, and I want to thank you for spending time with me today. This is for Loyal World News. Thank you for spending time with me today. Feel free to like, subscribe, or drop a comment below on any topic you find interesting. Or if you are on the go, you can listen to my podcast, which will be provided in the description. I will see you tomorrow and share the new world news.